Thanks for listening. Remember to visit us at easygameradio.com, follow us on Instagram, Easy Game Radio, and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another, just podcast blast of news going on in the golf world. First, want to thank everybody that had followed and listened to the first episode that Pat and I had. Really appreciate the feedback. I hope you get something out of these updates. It's fun for me, but there's a lot going on in the golf world, both on the tour and equipment. I'm going to talk TGL. The American Express is teeing off this week. This is in La Quinta, California. It's a pretty light field, as we heard coming out of the holidays. Scotty Scheffler had some kind of hand accident cutting his turkey, whatever Christmas dinner it was, so we knew he was going to be out. But just in the last week, since the first round of the TGL, Xander Schauffele has now withdrew. So that field is even more light. He was originally a heavy favorite to win when Scotty pulled out. So now with Xander out, his only event so far this year is the TGL week one, if we really want to count that. But one notable member of the American Express field that I want to talk about, a young man named Blades Brown. He's making his professional debut. It's not his PGA Tour debut. He played last year at Myrtle Beach as an amateur. But wanted to highlight this kid. He's 17 years old, and he is just that. He is a kid still. He does hail from Nashville, Tennessee, Brentwood specifically, just on the south side of Nashville. Near the border going into Williamson County. He was an absolute stud in high school. Decided to forego college, head right to the tour. So it's going to be exciting to watch him. His family also no stranger to winning. His mother, whose maiden name is Blades, hence young man Blades Brown, she won 2 SEC championships when she played basketball at Vanderbilt. She went on to play in the WNBA in its inaugural season and went in the record book with the first three-pointer of WNBA history ever, 1997. His older sister, also a stud athlete. She plays basketball at the University of Alabama, Huntsville. It's now the second time I've mentioned the University of Alabama on my own podcast, so that's awesome. War Eagle. Last year, Blades at the Myrtle Beach, playing as an amateur. He did make the cut, which was impressive. A 16-year-old amateur making the cut at a PGA event. He went on to shoot weekend rounds of 66 and 69, finishing tied for 26. So exciting to watch what he does at the American Express in his first PGA Tour event. I could think about this in a couple ways. He can always go back to college. Golf will assumedly be a part of his life for a long time, regardless of his success on the PGA Tour. But I don't know. I think the opportunity to play at a major university and develop there as a player is one that I doubt he would go backward to get now. And especially with the NIL deals, I'm sure he's making more money as a PGA player through endorsements. But if he doesn't win on the tour, he doesn't make the cut, he does not get paid. If he went and took at least a year or two to play at a university and one of the major programs, I know the University of Tennessee would have loved to have him. That other school down south, just north of Auburn, would have loved to have him too. There are just so many good programs out in the States right now with NIL. But good luck to Blades Brown representing Nashville and the state of Tennessee at the American Express. Over in Dubai, the DP World Tour, and keep in mind this is what was formerly called the European Tour. PGA, of course, PGA of America, organizing all the North American professional events. DP Europe, also thrown in this Venn diagram, is the LIV Tour. But the PGA and DP do have a strategic partnership that allows players like Rory McIlroy to play in both the PGA and DP events without getting sanctioned, without getting fined, anything like that. So DP World Tour kicks off today at the Dubai Desert Classic, playing at the Emirates Club. Rory won last year, so he is going to be defending his title, joined by a field that includes players such as Tommy Fleetwood, Adam Scott, Patrick Reed, and Jon Rahm. Again, PGA players cannot play in LIV Tour events and vice versa. That feud continues on with rumors of resolution coming, but nothing concrete yet. So the DP Tour is a place where both players can actually find themselves playing against each other, kind of illegally. LIV players can play in the DP. They will get penalized by the DP once they play in a LIV event for that year. So because the LIV Tour hasn't actually kicked off yet, Jon Rahm's going to be able to play unsanctioned But once he starts playing in live events, he's going to rack up those fines. He said in the news he's not going to pay them. They're going through a major legal battle to figure that out. The sanctions that these players get, though, it's $122,000, and then they have to sit out a DP World Tour event for every live event they play in. So if you could follow all of that, very confusing. Basically, he's not going to start racking up a bill until he plays in a live tour event, but by that time, he probably won't be playing in any of the DP tour events. The live players are also still eligible to play in the majors. That would be the only other opportunity where you would see a player like John face off against Rory. John, I think he's kind of becoming just too much of a crybaby. He did sign a $600 million contract when he joined the live tour. About half of that was paid up front. I have a hard time feeling bad for him. He is crying in the media ahead of this week's rounds, talking about his chances to make the European Ryder Cup team. He'll be playing at Bethpage Black here in the States this year. He says he feels confident that he's going to be on it. And while the legal mess is being still figured out between all the tours, he does remain eligible to be selected by the European captain, Luke Donald. However, if they settle the case and decide that the live players are ineligible, he will be removed, which puts a Ryder Cup captain in an interesting spot where they're trying to build a team. They need to know that their players are going to be there. So at least a little bit of news coming out of the PGA and the live and the DP. I don't understand what Jon Rahm's team, his agent and lawyers were possibly thinking or telling him, or what they told him and he ignored. But for a man to get a $600 million contract, 300 paid up front before he even played around, and then now to kind of be seen as this just crying, you read the rules. You had to be told what was going to happen to your eligibility to play in these events, and it's just the same old story out of the Jon Rahm camp. Last night we had TGL Week 2, Jupiter Links in LA, Tiger Woods debut. I was really excited and happy with how Week 1 went. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I'm not going to lie. I don't even know if I'm going to watch next week. I thought that was painful to watch. It was an absolute, as everybody likes to say, a boat race. 12-1, Los Angeles, just smoking Jupiter Links. Kevin Kisner, man, I've got players I play with regularly that would have been better on that team with you. Kisner's got an awesome personality. His sense of humor is awesome. Went to the University of Georgia. Hails South Carolina. He turns 41 this year, but he was just awful. One of those shots he hit, just that lazy, laid off fade. It was the amateur miss, that low right miss on a par 3. I'm not watching that every Tuesday. No way. My daughter can have the TV for Bluey. I don't even think last night's episode made good background noise. Basically, as soon as the triples were done, they went to the I almost said back 9, but they don't play 18, but they got to the 10th hole to start their singles. I was so checked out of it. I was bored. To me, I had to imagine that's what it feels like for a woman to be dating a dude or a golfer whose boyfriend or spouse makes them go to Topgolf and then doesn't let them swing a golf club. I was bored. I hope this is not the beginning of a slide. My conspiracy theory about the format fitting Tiger Woods was completely wrong since he got dominated. Jupiter Links threw 6 penalty shots out there. I think by the 12th hole they'd called that stat out. But I was not impressed. TGL Week 2 definitely gave me arena football vibes, XFL vibes. It might be cool to have and nice to have, but when they're giving away tickets, when you buy boxes of Girl Scout cookies, you're not going to that. And if they lose those players to keep it entertaining, it's not going to happen. So there were no ratings numbers out. Nielsen didn't post those yet this morning. I would guess that they probably had a decent spike in the ratings, probably matching last week's almost 1 million views at one time, averaging closer to 900 throughout the entire episode. I imagine they probably got a spike at least matching, if not exceeding, the 1 million mark when Tiger was on. But if more than 1 million people watched that episode or that round of the TGL last night, I really am worried about what America has going on. Give your kid the remote and let him watch Bluey. It'll be way more entertaining. Sahith Theegala was phenomenal to watch. He was just throwing darts. Max Homa, his quips were about as expected. He's just a funny dude, great personality. So we did get to see a little bit of that. We only got video of DJ Khaled. There was no interview, no another one out of DJ, but he was there Venus Williams in the crowd. She's partial owner of the LA team. It's still an awkward concept to me. I don't understand how we have owners of these teams. I really doubt they're anything but investors just fronting the league. I really hope they see a return on this, because if that keeps going, I will not be tuning in for very long. And I think as we get closer to the majors kicking off, especially the Masters in April, I have a feeling you will not see the players wanting to spend much time over at SoFi Center in Palm Beach unless they are ready from the Palm Beach side of the golf world. So hopefully a better showing in week 3. I don't even have the lineup of who's playing next week. I was so over it last night. Didn't put it in my notes. So other golf news, John Daly posted a picture yesterday. Poor guy. He had emergency surgery on his hand. I don't know what him and Scotty Scheffler are doing in the kitchen, but posted a picture from his hospital bed, said that it looks like he's going to recover just fine. And if you know anything about John Daly, I doubt that was actually any kind of hydrating fluid in that IV bag, probably vodka. So hopefully John's doing great. I got a chance to watch him play at the PGA last year in Louisville at Valhalla. He's just a character. He's an asset to the game. He can't make his way to walk through a round of golf though either, but we want to see him healthy and continuing to enjoy all those M&Ms and Marlboros on the golf course. More news out of the equipment world. In the universe of golf, Ricky Fowler, his contract with TaylorMade to play their ball has now ended. He's going to be moving on to a Titleist Pro V1. Titleist also just announced that they have their newest version of the Pro V1. The 2025 has been announced. It has made its way into the bags of player tours, but has not announced a retail release yet. So you'll have to stand by and wait to find out when you can lose $6 a hole as you continue to slice that Pro V1 off into the woods. Srixon announced their ZXi lineup. They have a new driver and a new ZXi7 iron set coming out. The ZXi7s do feature a little more offset on that top line of the iron, but as always, Srixon's product looks clean. I'm sure it sounds great and feels amazing. Cobra, they announced a new prototype 3D putter as well as a mini driver. If you've played golf with me or know anything about me, I'm a huge mini driver fan. They're a lot of fun. I'm surprised that it took this long for them to get so popular. They've been around for at least 10 years. My TaylorMade SLDR was in the bag in 2013, 2012. So cool to see the manufacturers building these mini drivers. I would recommend anybody go and try and hit one. Go get fitted for one. They're a lot of fun. Don't get your hopes up too high, though. It's not going to fix all your problems. And if you cannot hit that ball consistently, you're going to have a harder time. It is a smaller driver. Mizuno announced their interchangeable putter lineup. Really cool product. You can actually change the body of the putter as well as the face, giving yourself the different, saber look versus the mallet versus the blade, and then as well as being able to change that face on the putter. Really cool product. And then Ping released its G440 driver and irons. The 440 driver shares that same crown that their traditional style has, but the irons also falling into that kind of forgiveness category. They look pretty standard, but getting good reviews from the shops and the fitters that have those already. So that is your quick update for the last 2 days. I'm probably going to get this back to once a week. I had way higher hopes for the TGL to have something to talk about on Wednesday, but I don't even think I'm going to want to talk about that after. That sounds like an Instagram post to me. And then once the tour events start kicking off, I don't know, Mondays, whatever works for the news as it comes out. But just remember, go check us out on Spotify. You can follow and automatically download all the podcasts. We'll be doing a second episode of the actual Easy Game podcast where Pat and I document our journeys to just become the best golfer, best player, and really best person that we can try to be all through the game of golf, and then look for more of these updates as news continues to come. So again, you can go to easygameradio.com. You can check us out Instagram at easygameradio, and then find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for listening. Remember to visit us at easygameradio.com, follow us on Instagram, Easy Game Radio, and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.